Setting up the meeting for YouTube Live. Man, is it so nice to be back and full of Easter blessings. All right, so we are live on YouTube now, and I want to remind those, in case you're watching this on YouTube for the first time ever, sometimes people have their camera off, and that's totally fine. If you're a church communicator that's been thinking about joining, but maybe there's a lot going on in the background, whatever, you're welcome to always join and just have your camera off. This is just camera on for anybody that is comfortable with it, is in a situation where they can have their camera on, but no requirement one way or the other. In some cases, sometimes people even join without their sound or camera and only do chat, and that works just fine too. So I welcome you to consider joining us next week. It's every Tuesday at 10 a.m. We call it Tuesday Talks, but it's a bunch of church communicators, some pastors, volunteers, staff, anyone having to do with church communications. So today I'm going to get us started with a couple of items that came up from questions via email from churches. The first one's about CCLI. I've talked about this before, but time passes and things do change, and not everybody gets the message. So I wanted to cover this again. It's just, what are the licenses that the Desert Southwest Conference provides, as in pays for every one of our churches, fellowships, or churches in the Desert Southwest Conference, and just a little bit about some other licenses that your church might be getting, but it's not paid for by the Desert Southwest Conference. The first license is by CCLI. It's the Church Copyright License. And that one is paid for all of our churches. It's what you would use to be able to have the PowerPoint up with the song lyrics, or if you're having rehearsal pages with the song lyrics, things like that. Anything imagine it's about printing the song lyrics. That's the Church Copyright License. And every one of our churches has it now. Thanks to your apportionment giving, the Desert Southwest Conference can afford to pay for it. By doing that, we did all get a group discount. The next one, thanks to COVID and your apportionment giving, is the CCLI streaming license. Since all of our churches were having to close the doors and offer worship online, the streaming license was something that every one of our churches would need. So we were able to secure a discounted rate for all of our churches, and the Desert Southwest Conference pays for that too. Some churches maybe didn't have a streaming license before, and so now they do, but you still need your license number or whatever, and you can contact CCLI directly and let them know that you're part of a group discount license, or you can contact me and I can get you your license number. All that the Desert Southwest Conference does is pay for the license. So I've got a list of all our churches and all the license numbers that we pay for. That's it. That's all we do. Anything beyond that, if you're having troubles with your account, if you want to upgrade and get a different, software, a different, anything else that you want from CCLI, you would need to do that directly with CCLI. So some churches already did have a streaming license, or they had other products. That's the word I was looking for. They had other products from CCLI, like Song Select or the video license. Those other licenses that your church maybe already had still need to be paid for by the church. The Desert Southwest Conference only gets billed for the CCLI copyright and the CCLI streaming licenses. Those two are the only ones that are paid for thanks to your apportionment giving. The rest of it is the church will still get the bills. So if you're receiving emails from CCLI saying, hey, your invoice is still outstanding, and you open up that invoice and you see that it's for some other product that is not copyright or streaming, you do need to pay for that. I mean, if you want to keep it going, otherwise just let them know, cancel it. So what else? So the other question about licenses that I had received was about their church prior to COVID was showing movies, having like a movie night. And I don't know if it was part of a Sunday school thing or it was just a community thing. But in order to do that still, you would need to get the CCLI video license. Now I'm forgetting the exact name of it, but I will include that exact name in the email that I send out to all churches and links to each of these licenses so you can learn more about each one. So that license allows you to host a group and watch a movie that maybe is on DVD now or that is streaming or whatever, but it doesn't include permission for every movie in the world, just like CCLI copyright and the streaming licenses don't cover every single song in the world. You still have to do some work and go on to the CCLI website to look up the exact song or movie that you're planning on showing. And just a quick tidbit in case you're thinking about going out and purchasing that license, or if you have it, remember that you cannot publicly publish that you're hosting this movie watch experience with whatever movie. Let's say it's the new Batman movie. You can't publish that. I'm not sure why, but that is against the license permissions. So make sure that you read through that stuff carefully. Avoid any fines or legal issues. But again, I'll send you the link so that you can learn more about it in case you're thinking about using it, or if you're already using it and anything that I said sounds like, I think we maybe aren't doing things quite right. So now you can double check and make sure that you're on top of it. All right.
I had a comment on that though, Christina, too. We're trying to get our act together show, we say, for the Bishop's message here this hopefully next weekend. And thank you for your help with that, by the way, too. But we also contacted CCLI, and somebody had not updated that information with them in the last two pastors and choir directors. So we got that straightened out. It might be a good idea just to check with them and make sure that your current contact list is up there with me.
Great idea. Yeah, I know. I mean, the same type of thing happens with websites. You know, our leadership changes because that's the way the United Methodist Church world goes. And then if your pastor's receiving those email invoices, and that email no longer works because the pastor's moved on to a different church, yikes. So maybe I've often thought about doing like a really good to-do list. I know the districts do that for when appointments change, or maybe at the new year, do this in January, which would be update some of that contact information. It was a great comment, Jim. Thank you. Okay, next item. So I also had a question, and I cannot for the life of me find this email so I could read to you the exact question that I had, but I'll keep looking. The question was about, I think it's somebody that does the worship service for the church or manages it or does some of the tech support for it. Because he was saying that he was having a hard time with the audio coming into the iPhone, that either the audio was too hot or it was too big of a file, something, and isn't there some device that I could use to help that process? So I was going to bring it up to the group, and I like to include the list of topics that we're going to talk about so that if you have the answer, you can be sure to join and provide it and help somebody out. That's part of what this Tuesday talk is all about, helping each other out. And David Topping, who couldn't make it today because he had another meeting scheduled at this time, did respond via email. He had some insight about what he does. He says, for getting audio from the headphone jack on a soundboard or whatever other sound producing device and getting that into an iPhone, he recommends something called iRig. That's lowercase I, capital R-I-G, Stream. And he says it's about $99. And he provided a link to where you can go to purchase it or learn more about it. So I'll send that in the email out to everybody. But he said that at Song of Life UMC, that's his church where he works and attends, and his wife is the pastor. He says, in order to get sound from a mixer into an iPad, we broadcast. Wait a minute, that they broadcast from the iPad. So in order to get the sound from the mixer into the iPad, which would similarly be the case for an iPhone, he started using an iRig 2, and that's $39.99, but recently he upgraded to Stream. If that doesn't make sense to you and you want to learn more about this, I can connect you with David Topping. Just send me an email and we'll get more information to you. Questions about that or anything you guys want to share? No? Okay. All right, next. Oh, and you know what? Actually, the other piece that I wanted to mention about that, and I'll include the link to this Facebook group in the email that I send out, is just consider joining the Western Jurisdiction Online Worship Facebook group. It's an incredible resource and so friendly. Everybody is very, very willing to, go out of their way and, respond to questions like these with, oh, here's what worked for us. Or it's very well organized. You can look at the tags on the side. So the stream is where you see everybody's responses and replies and whatever. It's the bigger part in the middle of your screen. The tags are, if you're looking at your computer, it would be just to the right of that. There's a small section. There's like probably 3 little boxes, and one of them is the tags. If you click on those tags, which are labeled by topic, it'll change the stream to be everything that's listed or commented in chronological order. It'll change it to anything that was tagged by that subject. So it could be an audio tag. You click on that and then it changes, and now all you see are the posts that were listed with that audio tag. Very useful, very time saving. And this is all from people like you. It's our church people throughout the Western jurisdiction that have had to figure out quickly how to make online worship work and work well and work better and be amazing. And now they're in the process of how do we transition to in-person worship and keep an amazing online worship experience going. So there's tons of information in there. If you want to just jot it down, but I will send it via email. It's facebook.com/groups/online worship. You do have to request to become a member, but it's easy enough to do. It's the first thing that'll pop up in front of your screen if you're not already a member. All right. The next topic I'm super excited about, it's the 21-day Racial Equity Habitat Building Challenge. This is not something new, you would think, because we've been talking about it since last year, and it's been an incredible resource put together by the DSC Race Coalition from the original 21-day Racial Equity Habitat Building Challenge. I don't remember who it was originally from, but it is listed in the resources where it's originally from. And Julie O'Neill is one of the members of the DSC Race Coalition, and she's here to tell us about what's new about the 21-day Equity Habit Building Challenge.
Thanks, Christina. Thanks, everyone. Actually, I'll modify what Christina said just a little bit. That is one piece of it, but this falls under the umbrella of next month is Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And so that's the lens in which the Race Coalition is going to be providing a couple of different things for the conference. And so the first one is like what Christina said, it's going to be an expanded or a supplement to the resources that are found in the 21-day challenge. This expanded list is very focused on Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. And so all of the resources either are written by people of that heritage or talk about things related to that heritage. So that's one component. Hopefully that will be all of this will be released in the month of May. So we invite you, churches who haven't done the 21-day challenge yet are more than welcome to start that process, or even individuals who haven't done that. There's a ton of resources for a pastor or a church leader to start that class at your church if you haven't. You can also do it individually. That's kind of the benefit of that, the way the format is for the 21-day challenge, just to build your awareness and to start really making it a habit to start looking at how racism affects our world and how we as Christians can start to respond to that. So yes, that's one piece of it. The second piece is going to be a panel discussion that's going to have laity and clergy from our conference who are Asian American Pacific Islander, or the abbreviation AAPI. And it's going to be a panel discussion that's going to talk about a bunch of different things. Some of that will be sharing about personal experiences of racism or prejudice or bias that they've experienced in our communities, while at the grocery store or something, but also kind of in our churches as well. So that'll be a really rich discussion. There will be members of the Race Coalition on that panel as well. So I invite you to mark your calendars. That will take place on May 14th. And finally, hold on just a second. My dog almost started barking. Finally, will be a video interview with Bishop Bob, and it will be a very intimate interview, really talking about his experience of racism, both individually while he was growing up, while he was going through ministry, things that his family may have experienced, but also his perspective on how the issue of race and racism is part of our churches, and how we as Christians, how we as the Desert Southwest Conference can begin to address that. That will also be available toward the end of May as well. So there's 3 opportunities for our conference to really look at the ways that we can be supportive of AAPI Heritage Month. So I'm excited, and please start sharing that with others, and look for those resources starting in May.
Nice, thank you, Julie. So the 21-day challenge part of it, it really is for 21 days, right? That's the commitment. And could you describe what some of those days would look like? I mean, for people that haven't ever done it and just keep hearing 21-day challenge, just so they can get a feel for or interest in giving it a try.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a commitment, right? So the goal is to, do something for 21 days, because that's kind of the idea of building a habit, right? You do something for 21 days and it starts to become regular. And so the 21-day challenge was created by Eddie Moore, and he's a diversity educator. And the format is that each day you do something. Now, we will say that there are different formats out there of this challenge. The American Bar Association has modified the material a little bit. Some churches have modified a little bit. For our conference, the format is that each day you do something. So one day you might watch a video. The next day you might read an online article. The next day you might listen to a podcast or something of somebody talking about their experience. And then the next day you watch something. It's a video or a speech or a TED Talk or something. So there's the main formats of reading something, watching something, and then listening to something. And so that's the format of the way that the DSC 21-day challenge is set up.
Okay, well, that sounds very doable. Is there anything you have to do? Like, is there a test at the end of it, or do you have to write a paper about your experience?
No, but ideally, it's just to build awareness. Each of us is at a different place in our journey with where we are in terms of experience with racism ourselves, or seeing other people experience racism, or just our basic understandings of it and how it came about, how it operates in our world, how it's systemic. So, everybody's going to be at a different place, but kind of the nice part is that there's always more learning to do. And so even at the end of the 21-day challenge, ideally, a person would say, you know what, this has really opened my eyes to some experiences that I never had the opportunity to know about. I don't know what it's like to walk in somebody's shoes and how they experienced it, but because I watched this video, I have a little bit of a better understanding. So ideally, the spark of knowledge or greater learning will happen at the end of the 21 days, and that will help compel folks to continue to learn and continue to look for those places, books, articles, things in the news, to keep learning more about racism.
Okay, thanks. And so you said I could do it on my own, or it could be a group study. Is there, if I wanted to try it out for the first time, like I being a group leader, are there any support materials for me to use it in a group?
Yeah, absolutely. On the DSC Race Coalition website, which is, if you go to the regular main page of the DSC website, it's in a box in the middle of a couple of boxes that says DSC Race. And if you click that, you can find out more about the Race Coalition. And then there's also a link to the 21-day challenge. You can find out more about the challenge, as well as a whole bunch of resources if you're a leader, if you're a pastor, or if you want to help encourage maybe somebody at your church, or if you want to be that person, or if you want to help say, hey, pastor, I think we need to offer this. What do we need to do? How can we do it? There's sample articles you can put in your newsletter to help spread information about it. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. Of course, when we first did this, everything's blurring together. Some of it was done, online because of COVID. I think that's also an opportunity to gather others who may not get together. You can also gather people, your friends, your neighbors, or people from other churches if you want to get a group together.
Cool, thank you, very timely. Yes, Carla.
So, Julie, I've done this. I did this before in October. I did the 21-day challenge, and I just thought it was great. I loved the discussion that the conference, I did it with the conference, and I loved the discussions that we had each week. I learned a lot about myself. I know that in the materials that were presented before, there were some days that were suggested things to do, and other days you would look from a list. And my question is, so the resources that you're preparing, will it include a whole list of things, or will they just be options that we can select from?
Right. So it's not going to be a full set of 21 days, but it will be so again, it's a supplement to the main 21-day challenge. So it's going to have additional readings, maybe some videos to watch, maybe some other things that really specifically focus on the AAPI community or experience, but it won't be a full offering of a 21-day challenge based only on AAPI experience. So that's why it's a supplement. Our this subgroup of the Race Coalition really wanted to promote 3 to 5 things that somebody could focus on with additional items, knowing that people might not have the time or the interest, or they might say, here's something I want to start to learn about and not be overwhelmed by 20 different resources and they don't know where to start.
Thank you. I think just to make it easier for our viewers to see where they can find this resource. So this is the Desert Southwest Conference website, dscumc.org. And if you go right here to this middle button, DSC Race Coalition, it brings you to the DSC Race webpage. And here you can see the 21-day challenge, right? We probably, I imagine, once some of the AAIP stuff is coming up, it'll be right here under events. But for now, since we're talking about the 21-day challenge, you click there, and then this is where you can find more about it. Click on about. And here's some of the questions or responses. You click on these to find out more about it. You can go to the assignments, and this is those things that you would do every day. So you would click here to get to the AAPI additional resources. Here's the original one that has everything. And as you can see, there's other items that will also be populated pretty soon, but this is where you would get to the AAPI resources just by clicking on the assignments. Also, if you're looking for a URL shortcut to it, it's dsc-race.com. I think .org also works. Brings you right to it. Let's try it, dscrace.org. Yay, it also works. Cool.
And I think that another member of our subgroup that's doing a lot of work on this, he will join this communicators talk again toward the end of this month, where we will hopefully have everything ready to go, and you all might get a sneak preview of that. So stay tuned.
Thank you very much. Any other questions about the changes from DSC Race or new resources for AAPI month in May? Okay. Thank you, Julie. Appreciate that. All right, the next item, I don't think that I had included this in my email out, but we have some time, so I do want to be able to share it with you. There's Earth Day worship resources that were just recently published, I think maybe yesterday or this morning, or at least that's when I saw it, from Global Ministries. And I will send you guys the a link to get to that. I'll quickly share my screen so you can just get a quick preview of it. Screen. There it is. Yeah, so you can download any of the video pieces. I don't know if any of these, this is an hour and 39 minutes, so maybe this is the whole thing all together. And as you can see, they do have some available with subtitles and some without subtitles. And so you just go to the site and download it. So let's try to go to one of these and see. And go to Vimeo. And there's the download link. Just that easy. Wait, it's still playing. Okay, so that's how that part works. Any questions about that? Oh, you probably want to know when Earth Day is. And I think it's on this page somewhere.
I think it's April 23rd. Is that right, Julie?
April 22nd.
22nd.
For 2021. And it does say that at the very top of the page. I just missed it. All right. Then, and so that one, I do want to, I'll link it to the dscumc.org/worship page, but I might change the background color or something so that to highlight that this is not produced by the Desert Southwest Conference. So just keep that in mind. It's produced by Global Ministries, which is not part of the Desert Southwest Conference. The Desert Southwest Conference and Global Ministries are all part of the United Methodist denomination, umbrella, ministries, partnerships, whatever, but we don't work together. Okay. And the last item that I want to share with you guys is something that we received via email, could have been Friday. It's about a mustard seed migrant grant. It's a program from the United Methodist Global Ministries and UMCOR. They provide 50 congregations with up to $2,000 grants. It's for a one-time, it's support for a one-time community-based service projects. Churches will have the opportunity to assist refugees, asylum seekers, undocumented persons, and migrants of all types in their own community, as in your own community, in your church. So you don't need to travel somewhere to be able to do this. You can host a one-time thing in your community, in your city, in your town. It doesn't have to be right in your neighborhood for this grant. So the completed applications are due by Sunday, May 16th, 2021. So it's right around the corner. We don't have a whole lot of time, but luckily you don't have to have these events happening right now. You do have a little bit of time. Grant recipients will receive an award notification on June 1st, and approved grant activities may begin as early as June 15th. So, and they can start as late as December 15th. So you do have quite a bit of time to plan something out. I'm going to have these details in the email that I send to all of our churches, including a direct link to where you would go to find out more about the mustard seed migration grants or to complete an application. I'll send that to you guys as church communicators. You're probably not the ones that would organize something like this, but you would be the ones that could connect whatever group, your missions group or whoever, to this grant information. Okay, questions about that? No. All right, then I guess that's all I had. I hope you guys had a wonderful Easter. If anybody has something to share about their Easter at their church, something that you guys tried something new or talked about doing like a drive-through Easter or something, now would be the time to share it. Everything was pretty good and normal. Yep. Even through COVID. Whew. Blessed is he. All right. Thanks. Oh, you got something, Jim. Go ahead.
I was just going to say we had an outdoor service and it turned out very well. I think we had 75 attend, which is about 3/4 of what we normally do when we were in-house. So, but it worked very well. And we allowed for all the social distancing and the mask wearing and the sanitizing and whatever, but it worked. It took a little coordination and work, but it worked well.
Nice. How about advertising for Easter this year? Wasn't there any challenges with that, considering, hey, reservations only? Did it work out okay? No? Wow. Nice. Okay.
I should say we used a banner out front, but that was about the extent of the advertising. And then online, obviously, too.
Okay, good. Okay, guys, well, it's 10:39. Thank you all for joining us for another Tuesday talk. I've got a couple cool items in the hopper for next week, but I will send you guys an email invitation for next week's meeting. Thank you so much, Julie, for talking to us about the new resources from DSC Race Coalition. I'm looking forward to taking a look at those and trying them out in May. All right, you guys have a great rest of your day and a beautiful week. See you next week.